What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Hazard170 and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be counting down our most wanted villain characters in Marvel Rivals. And today we are also joined by Mr. Muffin72 in a collab video. So I will be covering the comic book origins and why the character should be in the game.
And I'm going to be discussing the characters' movesets and seeing how they can be balanced in a game like Marvel Rivals.
First up, we have Juggernaut. Juggernaut, also known as Cain Marko, is the stepbrother of Charles Xavier, Professor X. After discovering the mystical crimson gem of Cyttorak, Cain is transformed into the unstoppable Juggernaut, gaining immense strength and near invulnerability. Driven by a desire for power and revenge against his stepbrother, Juggernaut becomes one of the X-Men's most formidable villains. For his powers, Juggernaut possesses immense strength, invulnerability, and unstoppable momentum, making him nearly impossible to stop once he begins moving. His connection to the mystical crimson gem of Cyttorak grants him superhuman durability, regenerative healing, and the ability to resist most forms of physical and mental attacks.
Juggernaut is an absolutely massive character, so I feel like he'd excel at being this giant damage sponge for his whole team, while also being able to push forward and take space for the team. I'm thinking he could have abilities that let him charge at the enemy team at fast speeds, but also leave him pretty vulnerable. He has the potential to push in and do a lot of damage, but if he's not properly supported by the rest of his team, he could also just run in and die. Juggernaut's helmet also allows him to block any kind of telepathy attack, so I'm thinking he has a passive ability that protects him from a few types of spells, like Mantis Sleep or maybe some kind of mind control ability, but we'll get to that later.
Our next Vanguard is Sandman, also known as Flint Marko, who was a small-time criminal who accidentally gained the ability to transform his body into sand after a freak accident at a nuclear testing site. With his newfound power, he can reshape his form, manipulate sand, and enhance his strength, becoming a formidable foe. Initially a villain, Sandman has occasionally teamed up with Spider-Man and sought redemption for his past crimes, but ultimately he finds a way back to villainy.
I imagine Sandman would be a slow, maybe not as bulky Vanguard, but have the ability to do massive attacks with lots of damage. As he is commonly seen shapeshifting into giant hammers or spike balls, he can cover a lot of area for his team with his massive attacks. It could also be interesting if Sandman could put down pockets of sand around the map and then use that to transport in between, similar to how Loki can swap between his clones. This would allow for a Vanguard with a lot of mobility and tricks up their sleeve, but if you catch him out of position, he's easy to take out as he lacks in defense.
For our final Vanguard position, it is MODOK. MODOK, or the mental organism designed only for killing, was originally a scientist named George Tarleton, who worked for the villainous organization AIM. After undergoing an experiment to enhance his intelligence, his brain grew to enormous size, and his body was deformed, resulting in the creation of the mechanical suit that sustains him. Driven by a thirst for power and vengeance, MODOK becomes a ruthless antagonist, using his vast intellect and psychic abilities to pursue his goals. For his powers, MODOK possesses vast mental abilities, including telepathy, mind control, and energy blasts, all fueled by his highly advanced intellect. His cybernetic suit enhances his abilities, granting him superhuman durability, flight, and an arsenal of weaponry, which makes him a very formidable opponent.
MODOK is an interesting character because, well, just looking at him, he's a giant floating head. And Vanguards in Marvel Rivals are supposed to be in the front lines, kind of fighting for their team and pushing up. But how would that work for MODOK, because he's usually flying in the air? That gave me the idea of MODOK almost being like a distraction character. He can fly in the air and pester the enemies from above, and if not taken care of, he can do some decent damage. But his main goal is to distract the enemy so much that all your teammates can take the space that they need. He'd probably mainly attack with lasers, as he's seen a lot using the laser beam on his head, but I'm thinking for his ultimate ability, he could actually mind control someone on the other team. This would allow you to control another player for a certain amount of time, but you need to make sure you're in a good position because, well, your body's kind of left vulnerable while mind controlling.
For our first duelist, we have the Green Goblin, who is also known as Norman Osborn. He was a wealthy businessman and the father of Peter Parker's best friend, Harry Osborn. After experimenting with a serum to enhance his physical abilities, Norman becomes the insane and dangerous Green Goblin. Driven by a desire for power and revenge, he becomes one of Spider-Man's most dangerous and personal enemies. The Green Goblin possesses superhuman strength, agility, and enhanced intellect, making him a formidable combatant and strategist. He also uses advanced technology, including a glider for flight and pumpkin bombs for various attacks, further enhancing his threat level.
Green Goblin is basically known for his glider ability, so even though we just gave MODOK the ability to fly, well, let's give it to Green Goblin too. Although Green Goblin's flight is going to be more similar to Star-Lord, where it's used for quick bursts of energy rather than just floating around. Green Goblin will be most effective when he rushes in, takes someone by surprise, and does tons of burst damage with his pumpkin bombs, and then gets out before he starts getting spotted by enemy players. He'll be a wild character that relies on the chaos of the game to take enemies by surprise. But if a team is coordinated enough and sees Green Goblin coming, he can be dealt with before doing lots of damage.
Sabretooth, born Victor Creed, was a mutant with animal-like abilities, including enhanced senses, strength, and regenerative healing. He grew up in a harsh and violent environment, eventually becoming a brutal mercenary and rival to Wolverine, with whom he shares a long, violent history. Over the years, Sabretooth's sadistic nature and thirst for violence led him to become a recurring enemy of the X-Men, often clashing with Wolverine and others. Sabretooth possesses enhanced strength, speed, agility, and senses, allowing him to track and overpower his foes with ease. His mutant healing factor enables rapid recovery from injuries, and his retractable claws and sharp teeth make him a deadly hand-to-hand combatant.
Since Sabretooth is a rival to Wolverine, we're going to give him a similar mechanic. Sabretooth will act as a hunter, pouncing on opponents when they don't expect and killing them before they can even realize. What sets Sabretooth apart is his ability to take out entire teams if left unchecked. Upon successfully eliminating another player, Sabretooth will not only get a damage buff, but a health increase as well. If you pick off easy targets, it can snowball, allowing you to take on stronger and greater opponents with your increased damage and health. However, without the extra health and damage, Sabretooth really struggles in the front lines. He's much more well equipped for attacking opponents off guard and remaining unseen from the enemy team.
Our next duelist is Bullseye. Originally known as Ben Poindexter, he was a highly skilled assassin with unparalleled abilities to throw weapons with deadly precision. He trained as a mercenary and became infamous for his ability to turn almost anything into a lethal projectile. With his lethal accuracy and lack of moral restraint, Bullseye becomes one of Daredevil's most dangerous and deadly villains. Bullseye possesses exceptional accuracy, able to throw almost any object with deadly precision, turning everyday items into lethal weapons. His expertise in hand-to-hand combat and his ability to inflict fatal damage with a single strike make him one of the best assassins the Marvel Universe has to offer.
With Bullseye being a character with such high accuracy, I wanted to make him a character that rewarded players for good aim. It could be interesting to give Bullseye multiple different weapons that the player has to switch between in order to be effective. For example, a pistol will be fast and consistent damage, while a shotgun is up close and deadly. He could also have a variety of projectile weapons, such as the throwing cards he likes to use. Bullseye doesn't rely on crazy moves in order to get kills. If you can hit your shots, well, then you'll be doing damage. If you miss your shots, you're not going to be effective.
Next is Annihilus, who was a powerful insectoid warlord from the Negative Zone, a parallel dimension. He initially gained his strength by obtaining the Cosmic Control Rod, a powerful artifact that grants him immense power and the ability to manipulate energy. As the ruler of the Negative Zone, Annihilus seeks to conquer other dimensions, making him a constant threat to the Marvel Universe, particularly to the Fantastic Four. Annihilus possesses immense strength, durability, and the ability to manipulate cosmic energy, making him a formidable opponent. He is also capable of flight and can unleash devastating energy blasts from his Cosmic Control Rod, which grants him control over the Negative Zone and enhances his power.
With Annihilus attacking with cosmic energy, I thought it could be interesting to have him store up this energy and unleash it when it matters the most. He'll have simple physical attacks that he can use to store up this energy, and upon charging up your power, you can then fly above the enemy team and unleash devastating damage. Annihilus would reward you for staying patient and doing consistent damage, able to charge up your more powerful attacks.
For our first strategist character, we have the Leader. Originally known as Samuel Stearns, he was a scientist working with gamma radiation, before an experiment went wrong, exposing him to large amounts of gamma energy. This exposure transformed him, causing his intelligence to increase exponentially, while his body became frail and grotesque, with his brain growing to an enormous size. With his newfound intellect, the leader became one of the Hulk's most persistent and dangerous adversaries, constantly plotting to achieve world domination. The leader possesses superhuman intelligence with an intellect far beyond human limits, allowing him to outthink and manipulate others easily. His enhanced brain grants him telepathic abilities, mental manipulation, and the capacity to control vast amounts of data and technology, making him a formidable strategic opponent.
The leader, as a strategist, will be less about supporting and buffing up your teammates, but more about nerfing and bringing down the enemy team. He'll have weapons and guns that confuse and disorient the enemy, force fields that block him off from important areas. He can cause hallucinations, mess with enemies' controls, anything to throw them off their balance and give your team the edge.
The Enchantress, also known as Amora, is a powerful Asgardian sorceress who is born with a natural affinity for magic. Driven by ambition and a desire for power, she often uses her enchanting beauty and magical abilities to manipulate others, including gods and mortals alike. Throughout her existence, she is clashed with Thor and the Avengers, using her vast magical skills to further her own selfish goals. For her powers, the Enchantress possesses powerful sorcery, allowing her to manipulate magic for a variety of effects, such as casting illusions, controlling minds, and altering reality. She also has enhanced strength, longevity, and the ability to manipulate mystical energies, which makes her a formidable opponent in both combat and manipulation.
Similar to the leader, the Enchantress will also mess with the enemy team, casting a variety of debuff spells to mess with their powers, whether that be nerfing their damage, defense, jump height, speed, anything that weakens the opponents and allows your team to have the upper hand. It could also be an interesting idea to allow her to mess with the enemy's heads-up display, or as most people know, HUD. Either making it appear like you're reloaded when you're not, or that you have more health than you do, basically making the enemy team feel confident when they should be backing up and asking for support.
Our last strategist is Mr. Sinister. Born Nathaniel Essex, he was a brilliant Victorian-era geneticist who became obsessed with the idea of evolution and perfected genetic manipulation. After being transformed by the alien being Apocalypse, he gained near immortality, enhanced abilities, and a deep knowledge of genetics, leading him to become a ruthless mastermind. With his obsession for creating the perfect mutant, he became a recurring enemy of the X-Men, often manipulating events from the shadows to achieve his goals. Mr. Sinister possesses advanced genetic manipulation abilities, allowing him to alter and enhance the DNA of both mutants and humans. He also has enhanced strength, durability, near immortality, and can teleport, regenerate, and absorb other powers, making him a formidable and dangerous foe.
Mr. Sinister is a character you want to keep alive on your teams at all times. He can modify the genetic code of your own team, allowing them crazy new abilities. For example, allowing Hulk to do a Venom web swing, or maybe Spider-Man can wield a Doctor Strange shield. The possibilities are endless, and Mr. Sinister can make it happen.
So that's going to be all that we have today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed everything, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below what villains you would like to see in Marvel Rivals. I'd also like to thank Mr. Muffin72, and if you guys would like to see what heroes we would like in the game and the movesets for them, be sure to check out his channel.
Thank you guys again for watching. Please comment below what you thought about this video, what you thought about the characters we chose, and I hope to see you guys again real soon.